Welcome to our YouTube channel, where wisdom meets inspiration. In this channel, we share valuable insights to help you become the best version of yourself. Our content is designed to uplift your spirit and enrich your life. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay connected with this incredible journey. Click the subscribe button below.
David Chalmers, a philosopher from Australia who coined the term, the hard problem of consciousness. He's in fact now, I was happy to discover that he's the head of the Mind-Brain Consciousness Unit of NYU, New York University. What he pointed out was a simple fact which had been ignored so long. See, how is it possible for a physical system, like the brain, nervous system and brain, to generate first-person experiences, what are called qualia? This is a technical term used in consciousness studies. Qualia. It's a hard problem. If you Google it, you will find a huge number of hits because it's really big now. There's even a play in London going on, it's called The Hard Problem of Consciousness. So qualia means subjective sensations. Just exactly what we experience. You are seeing color, you're hearing sound. This is qualia. First person experience. How it appears to you. Why should this be a problem? This is a problem because in science, you observe. And what you can observe is a brain. You can observe with modern technology. We can now, fMRI scans are there. You can actually see the activities at a very subtle level in the neurons. So at the most, see, you are seeing and hearing. At the most, what a scientist can go up to, a brain scientist for example, can detect certain firings of neurons in your brain, which he might then correlate with your sensations. But no more. See, what we experience when you listen to my voice, or when you look at this beautiful room, what you experience right now are not firings of neurons. You're experiencing color, sound, sight. When you look inside, you experience thought, pleasure, pain, desire, memory. You don't experience firings, bursts of little electricity. How do these movements in the brain, the neuronal firings between the different synapses of the neurons in the brain, how do they generate a first-person internal experience? Are you with me so far? That nobody has any idea of. There was this talk I saw online, presented by a top neuroscientist, and there's a lot of talks. You'll see if you Google, you'll find most of them are titled "Consciousness: The Problem of Consciousness Solved." And when you go in there, it's not solved at all. So this neuroscientist had a cartoon up where a scientist is presenting the problem of consciousness solution. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. So step 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 are full of mathematics and notations, and step 5 is again full of mathematical notations, but step 4 just says miracle. And one of the scientists who's watching that, he's looking into the board, he says, I think you have to work on step 4. It requires a little more work. That's what David Chalmers has pointed out. There is simply, in principle, these two things are very different. How can a physical system, no other physical system has an internal first-person experience. Not this, not even computers. Even the most ambitious AI person might claim AI, that artificial intelligence is possible, even that is doubted, but would not claim that the machine is having internal experiences like us. No. Even computer scientists would not go so far as to claim that. But why is it happening? What is the connection? That he calls the hard problem of consciousness. David Chalmers. And obviously, many scientists do not accept it. Because it goes against the ruling paradigm of science. Recently in Manhattan, I was in what they call a philosophy cafe. It was conducted by a professor from City University of New York, who holds an opposite view from David Chalmers' view. His view is that, give us time, we will show how the brain can produce consciousness. brain produces consciousness just like the candle produces heat and light. So brain generates consciousness. There's nothing more to it than the brain. When the brain dies, consciousness is gone, finished. Can you demonstrate that? Can you even show in principle how it's possible? He admitted, no, we can't. But then I asked him, what prevents you from accepting that there is a hard problem? You see, very important question. That there is a hard problem of consciousness. What prevents you from accepting that? And his answer is very instructive. He said, if I have a strong Italian accent, if I accept it, then I have to change my entire paradigm, entire paradigm of physics. That has to be changed completely, because you have to admit now an entirely new type of reality called consciousness, which is not generated by matter and energy, by our understanding of physics as it is, the standard model. You cannot fit it in there. But that's what David Chalmers is proposing. He says, you cannot ultimately explain consciousness in terms of brain or nervous system. And he's proposing something called, you can catch his talks on YouTube, and his papers also are out there, panpsychism. And he himself says, what I'm going to say sounds crazy to serious scientists, but maybe we have to go there. Because here is a phenomenon. Clearly consciousness is there. We all experience it. By the way, there are people who are strong reductionists who would be very happy to deny consciousness. Daniel Dennett, for example. Or maybe he's not all that strong, but there are others. I think Churchland is there, who would say that there is no such thing as consciousness. You would be stunned to hear that. So what are we, zombies? We are not conscious? There is no such thing as consciousness, because that solves the problem neatly. And you can be happy with the existing paradigm. But that doesn't work, for the simple reason that when you're talking about consciousness, you're not talking about quarks or strings or black holes. You're talking about something that is evident to everybody in the world. All of us, we have the data because that's our life. What else is our life except these first-person experiences? You see, smell, hear, touch, talk, walk, think, remember, desire. All of these are conscious experiences, not first-person experiences. How can you deny this is not there, that you don't experience it? What David Chalmers is proposing is that we may finally have to admit that consciousness is a fundamental reality, as much real and as much ubiquitous as matter, energy, time and space. You see, the common sense, the ruling paradigm about consciousness is matter and energy, time and space are real, and somehow matter is, it organizes itself into living matter, and living matter, that's living bodies, life, evolves into more sophisticated brains and nervous systems, and those brains and nervous systems somehow, the operative word is somehow, generate consciousness. That's the mainstream, that's what we are taught in schools and colleges. What David Chalmers is proposing is that no, just like atoms and quarks and all are fundamental, matter and energy is fundamental, consciousness is also fundamental. It is not born of matter. It interacts with matter in us, for example. We are conscious beings, but consciousness is a fundamental reality, present everywhere in the universe. And he says we may finally be driven to it because in principle, there is no way of explaining consciousness from physical matter, from matter itself. This is called panpsychism. We didn't start with him. You can Google that also. Again, of course, heavy blowback on this. I asked the professor from CUNY, what do you think about panpsychism? David Chalmers' theory. And he said, oh, Chalmers, he gets one idea after the next, each worse than the earlier one. This is not acceptable. But in a very interesting interview with whom, but there, David Chalmers says, if you think long enough about the problem of consciousness, if you seriously think about it long enough, then either you become a panpsychist, that is, consciousness is fundamental, or you go into administration. So one of the two will happen to you. He is a very humorous guy.
Become Swami Vivekananda's messenger. Share the video with 3 of your friends.